Good morning. Welcome to a random vlog with Erik. That would be me, Erik, on this crisp November morning. It's 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. And as you can tell, it's a bit cold. So I'm going to start my car. And we're going to go on a little adventure today, where we are going to visit a cemetery that is nearby. We're going to visit a cemetery that is nearby. And he is somebody who is from my neighborhood in my past. I didn't know him per se. Oh, the screen went. I'm still working on the figuring this GoPro out, but anyway, come with me. Once this car defrosts, we're gonna go about 3 minutes down the road to Hillside Cemetery. Okay, we are in the vehicle. We are going to head over to see one James McNair, also known by Jimmy Mack or Uncle Jimmy Mack, and we will talk more about him when we get closer to where we're going. We're going to follow the map here. Let's see if I can. Okay. All right.
Starting route to Hillside Cemetery.
Here we go, people. So, we can talk a little bit about Mr. McNair on the way. Right now, currently, we are in Peekskill, New York. We're heading over shortly to Cortlandt Manor, to Hillside Cemetery to visit James McNair.
At the next stop sign, turn right.
All right, thank you. I know that. So, he basically, I didn't know him. I've seen him at different venues around the Peekskill area. This. Do I need to show you? You know, I don't know exactly where he is. Okay. You're just gonna listen. So I used to go to little clubs throughout Peekskill. They had little jazz clubs and different things.
In 1.7 miles, turn right.
McNair, or Jimmy Mack, was prominent in this area. He did a lot for the community by setting up different types of events for the community, whether it be a comedy show, amateur little get-together, things like that. And he was really becoming a pretty rising star in the comedy world before his life was tragically taken. We'll get into more detail when we get there. We can talk a little bit more about his demise and tragic end. We are literally...
In 1 mile, turn right.
I don't even think it's a mile away. That's how close it is. But he was definitely well known in the community and well loved of Peekskill. We will talk about more about that in a minute. This is the cemetery in front of us. This section that we just saw is very, very old. There's a little Red Schoolhouse there, and it's pretty old and goes back. There's actually some senators and representatives from New York, the history of New York. We are going to pull into this cemetery right here on the right in a few seconds. I'm not familiar with this cemetery.
Turn right, then turn right.
But we shall see. Let's go into this section right here. Alright, so. This is where we go.
Turn right.
I mean, it's not like we have a lot of choice here, do we? Alright. We'll be right back. Alright, so as you can see, we are at Hillside Cemetery. Pretty far up on this beautiful fall day. Now, when I look up Mr. McNair's resting spot, it says that it's in a section known as I'm kind of confused, but we will look him up a little bit better. Maybe we'll just take a look through the cemetery real quick. Grass is still a bit frozen. This little, I found a plot that looks a little look at this. This headstone. That's interesting. I wonder what that's about. So, anyway, back to our initial topic. James McNair. So as he began doing his comedy, through his travels, he's actually met some pretty famous people and became close to them. And before his celebrityness, look at some of these. Before he got famous, I wouldn't know, I don't know if I would say he was extremely famous, but he has ties to some very famous people. But from Peekskill, he did Jimmy Mack's Amateur Hour. He finally was doing a comedy show in the Uptown Comedy Club in Harlem. And that's where he met Tracy Morgan. A lot of you might know that name. Tracy Morgan is from Saturday Night Live, amongst a lot of other things. And they became pretty close, good friends, and he ended up pretty much freelance writing for Tracy Morgan on Saturday Night Live, and his Turn It Funny comedy tour. And that's why we are here today, because Mr. McNair, excuse me, is here because of a tragic accident on June 7th in 2014. He was killed at the age of 62 in a 6-vehicle accident in New Jersey. He was a passenger in a limousine that was rented out by Tracy Morgan. He was on the Jersey Turnpike, and if anybody knows the Jersey Turnpike, it's a bit of a fast traveling type road. It's, people tend to drive a little crazy there. But it was about 1 a.m. in the morning. The limousine was struck from behind by a tractor trailer that was operated by the Walmart Superstore. Walmart. And there was some wreck. It was some wreck. It was a chain, pretty much caused a chain reaction. They were all returning from a show in the Dover Casino in Delaware. There was some other people that were injured, as well as Tracy Morgan, pretty badly. Mr. Morgan almost lost his life in that tragic accident as well. And long story short, in 2014, Tracy Morgan and some other passengers filed a lawsuit. The driver did not sleep for 24 hours. So this whole tragedy could have been probably avoided, unfortunately. And that's what makes it so tragic. Oh, as we take a look through this cemetery here in Cortlandt, some beautiful stonework. I need to figure out where I can find Mr. Jimmy Mack. And then from there, we can pay our respects to a man who did a lot for the community where I am from and grew up. And like I said, I was not friends with him. I knew who he was. And I've seen him out at different events, or like I said, I went to a place called One Station Plaza, and I would bump into him. Peekskill is not a huge city. It is a city nonetheless, but it's not the biggest. And he was very well known and respected. So I will be back shortly enough. I'm going to see if I can figure out where he is. I've already walked pretty far. This is a big cemetery. It doesn't look like it, but it goes and goes. And the thing that is confusing to me is because they have different markers, like section C, D, E, but I don't see how he's supposed to be in the Woodlawn section, but I haven't seen anything that said that. So I'm gonna say it's probably most likely me. Why I'm not finding it, because, you know, nonetheless, but we will see. It would be such a waste not to be able to have actually filmed his gravesite, or his final resting spot. But it's a gorgeous day. It is crisp, and it's a nice day for a morning walk through Hillside Cemetery. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, make sure you put the bell notification on, and let me know if there's anywhere else you'd like to see. This channel is not just about cemeteries and stuff. It's going to be whatever the hell I want it to be. And I would like anybody who follows and subscribes to add what they would like to see as well. And we can see a lot of things together in the future. So I gotta figure out where he is, but I will be back shortly. All right, so I just actually spoke to a worker here who looks like he's digging up a small little hole, I'm assuming for some type of ashes. Well, he told me I'm in the wrong cemetery, needless to say. Which, I am not really in the wrong cemetery. Well, okay, let's admit it. I am in the wrong cemetery. The cemetery I need is really attached here, but it's on the, it's like back there. So this is Memorial Cemetery. And look at that, someone was a soccer player. 1989. Huh. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to get back in my vehicle and we're going to actually go to the right cemetery and see if we can find one Mr. James McNair, also known as Jimmy Mack, Uncle Jimmy Mack. I think that's it. Okay, so we're going to drive down. I might as well film as we go so you guys can see. Yeah, so I am... See, that's the thing that sucks about when you're using like maps and stuff, you know? You just never know. It was a nice little mausoleum. You never know where you're gonna where it's gonna take you. But we can take a look at some of the buildings here, so you can get a look at the East Coast. You know what? We can jump out here. I just put my seatbelt on too, like an idiot. We can go out and see if we can take a look at some of these, because this is a traditional, pretty much East Coast looking mausoleum. I don't know if you can see inside, but it looks pretty beautiful inside. Nice, I'm assuming Mother Mary. When it comes to religious stuff, don't ask me. All right, let's go find Jimmy Mack. All right, I'm back. Well, I spoke to a nice gentleman I saw here, I guess he says he likes the cemetery because it's quiet and there's not a lot of people. So I asked him about the sections, and he's like, there's really no sections. So, but he did say, he asked the time of passing, and I said 2014. He directed me over to this area, and I just started walking around, and sure enough, here we are. So this is Mr. James McNair. He gave laughter, love, strength, and guidance to his family and friends. The unforgettable Uncle Jimmy Mack. He, like I said, this gentleman was so well respected and well liked in the community. Oh, look at that. That's my last name, except it's spelt differently. So I guess technically it's not. But back to Mr. McNair here. So Jimmy Mack was tragically killed in what I believe is to be an avoidable accident. There was a lawsuit by Tracy Morgan and other survivors. And you don't really see too much about this gentleman when it comes to cemetery vlogs and whatnot. So I wanted to give this man some acknowledgement and respect for what he's done to the community that I've grown up in and was raised in. Rest in peace, Mr. James McNair, Uncle Jimmy Mack. The few times I actually got to meet you and speak to you, you were always a funny and uplifting person. So that will be that. And someone must have been here because his birthday was last month. So it looks like some of the balloons have since lost their air. Anyway, so now through the woods here is another cemetery, and that's the Assumption Cemetery. But I think what we might do, now that we found Jimmy Mack and we said our respects to him and told a little bit about his story, I think we should go maybe just pick up a little bit more footage from the older section that is kind of in this direction. It's pretty much straight over here, so let's go see if we can take a look at that. All right, so now we're gonna try to find ourselves back to the older cemetery, which the gentleman who I spoke to told me. So basically, this is all like three cemeteries that used to be one, and now it's three. And I don't really know. I know that right now we are in Hillside. The cemetery that was across through the woods that I showed you previously is Assumption Cemetery, and now we're heading to the old cemetery. Just want to get some really good footage here because there is just so many beautiful statues and figures and all sorts of stuff. We're gonna cut. You know what? Let's go up this way. Yeah, because that took me a different way. This is actually, we're going to pull over right over here because this is a beautiful section of this cemetery, and there's some really ornate Victorian looking style, as you can see from right here. So we're just going to actually stop right here because I don't think this time of day anybody's going to be coming here. And we'll take a look at some of these tombstones together. Like, look at this one. Margaret Frost Preston, 1867 to 1949. Definitely not the oldest in this section. I mean, there's some tombstones here in this graveyard that are paper thin and barely legible, pretty much down in this section. But I stopped right here because died in Peekskill, New York, 1906, 1907. This looks like the Robertson family. And these, I mean, some of these you can't even, 1867, some of these you can't even. Dr. James Brewer, 1803, died 1867. Therefore, all things whatsoeven ever, yea would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. I don't know. It's early. I'm 90% sure I didn't read that correctly. Here's some 1789, died 1852, 1856. But I wanted to stop and take a look at this, because this is quite a beautiful work of marble art. Now, I'm not too far from Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is just a beautiful cemetery, and I do plan on doing some vlogs from there. So if that's something you would like to see, please let me know. Hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell notification, and I will try to do these things. You know, I work full time, so this is pretty much a weekend thing at the moment. I will at some point would like to possibly do this full time. That would be absolutely fantastic, but for now, this is all I have. If you take a look around, I mean, you just look at the colors of fall here in New York. This is locked up, but it doesn't have any glass to it. Doesn't even, kind of looks abandoned in there, but it is the Sherwood plot. But I mean, there is just some really exceptional works of marble art throughout this cemetery and the East Coast in general, and pretty much every cemetery. Excuse me. So maybe we'll take a little ride down and we'll go over to where the little Red Schoolhouse is, over there. And there is some pretty old section over there. We'll take a look and see if we can see anything cool there. All right, we have made it to the section that I wanted to be at originally. Okay, so this is the old St. Peter's. I think this was all St. Peter's, is what the gentleman was telling me. Service began in 1767. General Washington reportedly read morning prayers here. This was used as a hospital for French troops in 1781 to 1782. Now this building over here, you can see, that's the little Red Schoolhouse. I went there on a school trip many years ago, and it wasn't fun, only because I'm left-handed, and they force you to write with a feather, right-handed. So it sucks for people like me. The discrimination was real, people, back then, and I guess still to this day, maybe not so much by the way you write. But so that's the little Red Schoolhouse. I believe there was probably a handful of kids. Maybe we can vlog on that one day. Now this section this section is very, very old. That little church building we will walk up to. That looks like a little storage facility. But we're going to take a little gander up this way, all right? At least you guys are warm. It's getting, you can see the frost on the ground. I mean, just look at some of these. Barely has markings. This one says mother, father. Can't even read these. Now there is some other notable people within this area of cemeteries. I believe there is people that are you know, significant to the area. Like, let's see here. We got Chauncey Mitchell Depew, which there's a park in Peekskill named the Depew Park. He was a senator, president and board of chairman of William Nelson. Philip Van Cortlandt. We are in Cortlandt Manor, so I know that that has to do with local history. I am by far no history buff. You watch my channel long enough, you will know that I am not. In memory of Mary, the wife of Samuel Drake, who departed this life May 21st, 1779, to age 32 years, 5 months, and 17 days. Here lies the body of Rebecca Drake, the wife of Samuel Drake. Kind of hard to read the rest of that. I don't want to mess it up. Mary, the wife of Samuel Drake. Rebecca Drake, the wife of Samuel Drake. Mary, the wife of Samuel Drake. Rebecca Drake, the wife of Samuel. Playboys were even around then. Ooh, I just got a gust of almost cigarette smoke, and there is absolutely nobody in my vicinity. So let's take a look at the old St. Peter's Church as we walk by. There are some beautiful, look at this cross over here. Kind of, I can't tell because of the glare, but is this, it's stone, but it looks like a tree trunk. That is that's cool. So these are the kind of things you see. There are some, what is Thomas Parker. He was 7 years old, 8 months and 24 days. He died November 8th, 1878. There is a lot of youth buried in this section. Back in those days, a cold could kill you. There was, you know, obviously not the technology and in medical science that we have today. So a lot of people didn't stand a chance, and we do get cold winters in this part of the country, and it's not uncommon to get a cold. And I've been in this section before, and I've read a lot of tombstones that are people of young age. Old St. Peter's Episcopal Church. Services in this building were attended by General George Washington at times when he stayed nearby. This building was also used as an army hospital by French General Rochambeau before and after the Battle of Yorktown, Virginia, 1781 and 1782. So, this has... Good. I'm glad that there is video surveillance. There's too many people. But there's a lot of history in this area, and I don't really want to indulge into that, as I really don't. It's not my expertise. I'd like to just see if I can get a little bit of the inside of the church. It's a high window, so I don't want to do anything, but it's beautiful. I mean, those windows are just massive. So anyway, in this section we have a lot of very old tombstones. So let's see, we remember these French soldiers who gave their lives for our independence in our old St. Peter's building, years 1781 and 1782. And these are the men who, as you can see, their names are listed on each side. And I would assume that these white crosses we are about to see, it's the memory of the heroes of the American Revolution, 1771 to 1783, buried in this churchyard. Samuel Height. Quite a lot of people. And I believe these are in representation of those men. This is a beautiful cemetery. Well, I think that's going to do it for me today for this vlog. It's pretty much kind of my introductory vlog into my YouTube channel. I don't know, like I said earlier, my YouTube channel is not going to be one specific thing. I'm going to do vlogs like this. I'm going to do pretty much anything I film, you know, maybe some vacation vlogs. If I go on vacation, I can edit a little video, maybe some reaction videos. Maybe I'll take you along on just things I do daily on the weekends. And whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you back. I hope to see you like this video. Please subscribe to see more. I did put a link to my PayPal at the bottom if anybody wants to help this channel grow. And excuse me, the cold crisp air is getting to me. Yeah, but if anybody wants to help out and see future things, I would of course be appreciative. This section over here by the Red Schoolhouse, I don't know if that's connected to the schoolhouse or separated. I'm not sure, but maybe we'll leave that for another day. Anyway, this is Random Vlogs with Erik. Thanks for joining, and bye.